These letters that are herewithin contained were never intended for public consumption. They are private letters, written quite frequently in the heat of passion, and often containing confessions, secrets, thoughts, and feelings that the letter writer would have more happily died than ever have had exposed to the punishing gaze of society. However, now that all of the letter writers are either dead, in prison, or hopelessly insane, with the exception of myself, I feel no compunction at gathering them all together, placing them in their sequence of events, and presenting them to you, my discerning readership. The events that are here within contained began in the year of our Lord 1748. It has taken me years to gather them, through various means, such as blackmail, bribery, cunning, deceit, and sometimes downright barbarism. Oh yes, barbarism. From the various hands into which they had fallen. I have changed no names. I have blunted no edges. I only ask that as you read the lives of these poor souls laid bare, you judge them by that honest yardstick of the darkest secrets that you yourself withhold. My dear reader, as I sit here in my study composing the preface to this anthology, I imagine you some 276 years in the future, sitting in your cozy study with your feet up on the ottoman, toasting by a cheerful fire, holding the warm leather-bound volume in your hands. Your anticipation is limitless. Your imagination is fevered, so much so that even without opening the book, you can imagine what the people who are in these pages look like. And my dear reader, so in tune are you with the vibrations of this book that you might even guess before you open the book which of the people that stand in the foreground of your imagination wrote the first letter. You might even, on the count of 3, shout out the color of the outfit you see them wearing. 1, 2, 3!
Red! Blue! Pink! Red!
Blue.
You guessed too much. If you said red, you were correct. And dear reader of the future, you might even have a guess as to which of those creatures in your imagination is receiving the first letter. And once again, on the count of 3, you might shout out the color of the outfit they're wearing. 1, 2, 3! I heard my imagination. If you guessed green or teal or anything at that end of the rainbow, you are correct. And yet, dear reader, your imagination shall not be rested. You see that woman sitting at her desk, pen in hand, and you know she is writing about something that matters deeply to her, that she is thinking about. You might guess out loud on the count of 3, what is that thing that matters deeply to her that she is thinking about? 1, 2, 3!
Love. Baby.
She is, you guessed, love for a baby. You are correct. My dear reader, sit back, open the book, and peruse a series of scandalous letters and dangerous liaison.
Mademoiselle Celeste to Pierre. My dearest love, how I miss your touch, your breath upon me. The last we spoke, you were headed out to war. But alas, I pray that the battle has ended and you can come near me once again so we can start the family that we've dreamed of. I spend most of my days wandering in the yard, thinking about you. But I do have company with my dear sister. The other day we were strolling and reminiscing on the past. I shall tell you about this now. The sun was shining, the birds were chirping, and my dear sister was here with me. Claire.
It is so good to see you again.
It's been tough without Pierre.
But you write him letters frequently, correct?
I do, but I have not heard back from him in so long. And I fear that the family that I dreamed of won't come about.
My dear sister, I long for you to be with child also, so that all of my babies will have cousins to play with. There are 6 of them now,
I know.
and one on the way.
Yes.
My dearest daughters,
Papa.
look upon your visage. Oh, you are as beautiful as ever. Celeste, I have news from the war.
News?
Yes. It appears Pierre has been injured.
Injured?
Yes, he has. It appears a stray bullet has pierced his knee, making him... What?
Which knee?
The left one. Making him struggle to walk any faster than a 63-year-old woman. But alas, due to that, he has been released from duty.
Celebration!
Yes, well, of course, I have already prepared it, my dear. It will be a homecoming for the ageist. You sitting there in the galley of our ship, waiting for him to board slowly and come claim your hand in marriage.
Yes, Papa, it's finally happening!
It is settled now. I must go take my medicine, but my dear daughters, I am so happy for you.
Thank you, Papa. Oh, I must prepare at once.
I'm so happy for you, my dear sister.
I will write to Pierre now and let him know that I know that he's coming home and get ready for that right knee. And so, you see, my love, I know that you are coming home, and I will be waiting for you feverishly. Your dearest, dearest love, Celeste.
Pierre to Sergeant Claude. Sergeant, I wish to tell you of the circumstances that came to pass after my dismissal from the war, I was coming upon the galley of my soon-to-be father's ship. And there, in the breeze of the ocean, I could see my beloved. A party stirred upon that ship, many elegant people dancing in a way that I had not seen since our time in the war. Limping forth on my one good leg, I made eye contact with my Celeste. Celeste!
Pierre!
Oh. How I've longed for you these many, many months I've been away.
How I've longed for you. I thought I'd never see you again.
Oh, Sergeant, the greatest sight I had not seen in such a long time. Tears speckled my eyes, as if the ocean was casting its waves upon me. And my knee gave out at just the right time. Oh. No, please stand.
Oh!
Oh!
I was in a severe amount of pain, but I did not let it show. Celeste Mouton, will you take my hand in marriage?
Yes!
Now, my dearest guests, I shall prepare the feast. Well, by me I mean my thousands of cooks. But they shall bring it forth to celebrate my daughter and my new son.
Well, Sergeant, the festivities went on. But I must tell you, now that I'm no longer a soldier, it is quite odd to return to my career as a psychic. Of course, I knew that bullet was coming. Yet, I still took the battlefield. Let me a boy. And so still shall I rush forth toward my psychic duties evermore. Yours, Pierre.
Sergeant Claude, to his sister, Janine. My dear sister, you know I am incapable of containing my ill deeds from you. Once again, my wanderlust has wandered and lusted. I shall tell you the story. As you know, one of my greatest soldiers, Pierre, had been discharged due to an injury of his knee. He wrote to me of his fantastic love for his lady, Celeste, and I, to wish him a congratulations upon his safe homecoming, visited him at his home. I tell you, Pierre, the regiment is nothing without you, I said.
Sergeant, a vision has come to me.
Ah, yes, you're a psychic.
That I am.
It seems, my dear sister, he has the uncanny ability to know what's going to happen before it happens to them.
In mere moments, a messenger will arrive at my door.
Nonsense, you can't expect me to believe anything like that would possibly happen.
Yes, please enter.
Are you a messenger?
Yes.
Good God! I exclaimed.
shan't even open this letter, because I can intuit from it. The war has come to an end, Sergeant.
Good God, the war has come to an end! You are quite unique in this gift of yours. And, dear sister, I was about to go into a lengthy and prolix encomium on his qualities when suddenly a light blinded my eyes. Music blared from the heavens, and a woman entered the room.
Oh. Pierre, we have a guest.
Yes. Mother, this is the sergeant that I spoke so heavily of to you.
Sergeant Claude.
Did you speak of me heavily, Pierre?
I did so.
Pray demonstrate.
Well, I told my mother of your many heroic antics in the war, such as whence I was struck by that stray bullet, and you coddled me, much like a babe, and rushed me from the battlefield to the tent, where I found infirmary.
Oh, Sergeant Claude, I do owe so much to you for the safety of my beloved son.
Yes. Your husband, I know, is off in Prienne fighting the Battle of Legume.
Yes, he is. The Battle of Legume, which has been going on for far too long.
It has deep roots.
Indeed it does. And yet, the men suffer for lack of protein.
Sergeant, I must tell you, I wish you were to meet my father. He's such a splendid man, and I look upon him with such admiration. Oh, never a man there were, well, perhaps yourself excluded.
Sister, need I tell you how at once my heart yearned for the vision in blue that stood before me like an angel?
Oh, 'tis but warm in here. Perhaps we shall open a window, Pierre.
I watched her as she walked to the window, the sunlight streaming through her gossamer dress.
Sergeant, I hope it would be terribly uncouth of me, but I must go tend to my bandages. If you could keep my mother company.
He said as he hobbled off.
I do hope that he shall be whole one day.
She said as she traipsed across the room and leaned delicately upon the mantelpiece.
Do you like my mantle? It is
Oh, yes, I do.
You know, my husband brought it from Prienne on one of his visits home.
Yes. Yes, your husband, a fine and respectable man. I have met him thrice.
Did you?
Yes,
And did he treat you well?
he did. Does he treat you well?
When he is gone, I enjoy his presence much more.
Dear sister, the waving of her fan perfumed the room, not with her artificial scent, but with the sweet rose flavor of her natural breath.
Oh, I shall open the other window.
She traipsed before me. The sunlight was even more keen, the gossamer even more sheer, the angle to which she needed to incline her body even more acute.
Oh, much better.
It was all I could do, sister, to withhold my lust. My dear, madam,
Yes.
I trust that I will see you later this evening, perhaps at dinner.
I should hope so. I shall make a place for you at the table then. Perhaps across from me or next to me.
Oh, my wonderful wife.
Oh!
fantastic. And who, may I ask, are you? Who do I have the pleasure to greet at my own home?
Sergeant Pierre Agneau. I was your son's commanding officer.
Yes, of course. Forgive me.
No, please. Forgive me.
Oh, no, please forgive me.
Oh, no, please forgive me. Forgive me!
Sergeant,
Yes.
tales of your glory, excellence are renowned.
Yes.
I must thank you, if I may, with my hand placed upon your chest. I feel your beating heart and the gratitude that I feel for you saving my child's life, for you being the great leader that this nation requires. I will put my life and trust into you.
Dear sister, it was all I could do to keep from clenching his throat with my hand and squeezing the life from his veins so I might beg his wife.
I know that you would even sacrifice your own life to protect us.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, husband. He has saved our child Pierre, Sergeant Claude.
Then you must join us for dinner this very evening.
Yes, I will. You will excuse me now. I need to go.
I must part as well. I must tend to the horses momentarily, my dear.
Yes, it is so good to have you home.
As I walked out of the room, sister, I listened to their banter. I could not decipher it. And so, here I am, a house guest, beneath the roof of a man who possesses the one thing I now want more than anything else. Dear sister, have mercy on your tortured brother.
Mademoiselle Janine to Monsieur Pierre. Dear Pierre, there's something that I must say to you. I know that you are the soldier of my brother in his regime, but there is something that I need to tell you, and I don't quite know how. I told my best friend, Claire. I met her at the blacksmith's barn at midnight. Claire.
Is everything all right? It is quite late and quite dark.
Everything is not all right. Please sit. I fear that all that is going on with my brother right now, I have a horrible confession to make, and I need you absolutely to keep this a secret. I am with child.
Congratulations?
No. It's Pierre's. Don't judge me.
My best friend? With my sister's fiancé?
It was a war. He showed me his right knee. What could I do?
Say no!
It was impossible. And now, I fear I can't say anything to my brother. He is in love. He'll never know what this feels like. What should I do?
Does Pierre know?
No. He does. Oh, Pierre, I'm so sorry. This wasn't the way I meant to tell you.
Tink, 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 tink. The blacksmith is here.
At midnight?
Tink, tink.
I must leave you now. Promise me you won't say anything. Look at me. You are my best friend. You have been my best friend since we were born.
I will keep keep my lips sealed. For now.
And with that, Pierre, I leave you with this news. And I hope we can find some way to work through this. Sincerely, Janine.
Pierre to Monsieur Mouton. Sir, I have much respect for you, so I must recount the events that transpired between myself and Sergeant Claude. The two of us met at a bar. He was quite smoking. We had been in our cups. Claude much more so than myself.
And I said, why don't you take your English fanny out of here before I run it up your flagpole?
Monsieur Mouton, it truly was a funny joke, but I could not bring myself to laugh truthfully, for there was something on my mind.
Why aren't you drinking, boy?
Well, Sergeant, I think it best that I be clear of mind for what's to happen next.
Oh, yes, you're a psycho.
Sergeant,
What is it, son?
I have so much respect for you.
As you should.
And as you cradled me like a babe, pulling me from that battlefield, I made a pact with myself that I would always be truthful and kind to you.
Speak in my ear, and it shall not fly out t'other. Someone thinks that's funny, I'm sure.
Monsieur Mouton, it was now or never, as they say. Sir, I have impregnated your sister.
I slept with your mother.
No, sir, it's not an insult. What I'm saying is...
What I'm saying is truthful as well.
Tisn't.
What?
Tis not. Tis not truthful.
I thought you said tea.
You've had too much to drink.
Perhaps, sir.
You have bedded my mother.
You have bedded my sister.
And so we are even. Monsieur Mouton, you are, I imagine, absolutely appalled at this news. Here I am, engaged to your daughter, and yet I've had extramarital intercourse.
Monsieur, come, sit down. I am a good deal older than you, and a good deal more drunk.
That was my plan.
I will tell you that this is the way of the world. You and I are men! Men! Born to travel the world, conquer foreign nations, suppress the population, and woo women. This is the lot of our life, monsieur. So why be ashamed of it? Yes, you bedded my sister. I bedded your mother, which is arguably worse. But let us drink to the fact that we can at least bed, and let us continue our lives with all the lust and proclivities that the good Lord gave us as our legacy.
Sergeant, I don't believe you understand the ramifications of these actions. My life is in shambles.
Shambles, how so, sir?
The woman that I love and wish to marry, well, I can no longer do so.
Why? Because you bedded another. Come, sir, can you really claim to have loved her if you were so easily wooed away?
Monsieur Mouton, I believe that I got 10% drunker just by the breath.
Is it not perhaps the case, sir, that you and I, as men, are more like wild stags and less like penguins?
We are not, sir. I do have to fundamentally disagree with this. What I did, bedding your sister, causing her impregnation, it was a terrible, terrible, grievous error on my part that I wish to use my resting days, the rest of my days, to rectify.
And I say that it is the moment of your liberation! You have finally cast off the shackles that have imprisoned you when you were on that battlefield, when musket fire was firing to the left of you and firing to the right of you, when you had no recourse but to dive into a ditch and hold your head and pray that God protect you, and if you die, let you into heaven rather than send you to hell. Tell me, sir, when you risked your life in such a way, was that so that you could live as a sheep? A penguin that mates for life and has no fun? Or did you risk everything so that you could inherit the world that you were born to take?
Sergeant,
I took dance as a child.
I have ever so much respect for you, but this is a point I cannot agree on.
I dare you, sir. Now that you have taken this step, now that you have passed through the door of sin, I dare you, sir, to step back in comfort.
I shall, and you shall not woo me in the devil's ways. I see the outcome of this situation in my head. I see it in my favor, sir.
Tell me, sir, do you know where I am about to go right now?
Frankly, you can go to hell. And I left him. And so, Monsieur Mouton, I formally rescind my offer of marriage to your daughter. Until such a point in time that I can reclaim my honor. Yours, Pierre.
Monsieur Jean-Paul Mouton, to his dearest daughter, Celeste. My dear Celeste, I am afraid to share this experience with you, for I know it will break your heart in twain. Nay, thrain. But I must, for I am a responsible father. You see, I've received news that make it impossible for you to marry Pierre. And that, of course, puts us in a difficult position. As you know, Pierre and his family have the most honorable business in this country of housewife purveyors. You know, don't really get how it works. But my dearest, I went to confront that child. There I was at Notre Dame. In the top of the tower. He was kneeling upon the edge of the tower, looking down, forlorn? Yes, forlornly, my dearest daughter. As if he were thinking of ending it all. Boy,
Monsieur Mouton.
yes, you have broken my daughter's heart, or you will when I tell her.
I realize this, sir. Please, if you could find forgiveness in your heart for my indiscretions.
I could never find forgiveness. That child is my light. She is everything to me. Did you know that when she was but a weak girl, I found her?
Yes, of course I know this story.
She was in a little basket.
The smallest, she says.
There, in the foot of his Chateau Mayonnaise, the servants were out dusting the grand gate as I walked out for my morning walk. And yes, there she was. You see, my dearest, I was explaining to him with vivid imagination what that looked like. Quite a small basket. And I grabbed her with a beautiful brown hair, her tiny little alien-looking arms, and I held her to my bosom. And I swore that I would protect her with my life, son. So you see, I could never forgive you. But you and your family are a necessity. And I cannot allow you to back out of this marriage. But we all know there is no love in this marriage.
No, sir, I do love your Celeste.
Do not speak lies. I know because you told me what you've done.
Sir, I shall prove it to you. I shall prove it to you that I truly love your daughter. And if not, I will cast myself from this tower.
That would be grand. And so you see, I left him. It took me quite a while to get down from that tower. So here I am telling you that that boy does not love you, but I am afraid that I must force you to marry him. Our family will be ruined otherwise. But know that my heart aches. Yours, Papa.
Celeste to Madame Marie. I do not know what to call you, as I was looking forward to call you Mama. But I have learned from my dear Papa that there has been some indiscretion from your son. I do not know what these indiscretions are, and I am going to find out. I did meet with someone who had some information to give me the other evening.
I appreciate you meeting me here at the powder room.
Thank you for obliging my request.
This is the only bar that has a powder room.
Well, I am a lady.
And I am a man.
You missed a spot. A lot of spots. Just sit.
Your Pierre has impregnated another woman.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I do not believe you. He would not do that to me.
Do you know why I wish to meet you in the powder room? For one thing, the light is wonderful.
Yes.
But for another thing, it's because of this mirror. Come, my dear. Look in that mirror. I have found that this is the most crystal clear mirror in all of Paris. When you look into that mirror, it shows you not what you wish to see of yourself, but the very truth. Look into that mirror, my dear, and tell me if you see a woman who believes truly that Pierre has been faithful to her.
I do not see that woman.
Tell me what you see.
I see an orphan.
You were found in a little basket, weren't you?
Yes, like an orphan.
But I mean little, right?
I was undersized.
Yes, you were. But you are no longer undersized, are you?
No, I feel like I really filled out.
You are a tall, mature, and beautiful woman now.
Yes.
You needn't be held down by the strictures of society, my dear.
No.
If that man doesn't care for you, if he prefers the sheets of another, then you have no need to wring your heart in pain for him.
No, I don't. But my papa says I must.
Then you must defy your papa.
But he found me and fed me.
Yes.
How could I betray him?
It is easier than you imagine. Do you know, I too once had a papa. I even had a mama.
That would make sense.
And my papa too wished to dictate my life. Do you know what my papa wanted me to be?
A makeup artist?
Yes.
I must be psychic.
A makeup artist. Do I look like a makeup artist?
I mean, you could pass for one.
Well, I'm not a makeup artist. And I don't want to be a makeup artist. I wanted to be a soldier. Oh no, said Papa. Oh no, said Mama. You must be a makeup artist. Oh yes, a makeup artist. There are several people in need of makeup in the royal court, and if you wish to gain favor with the royal court, you must tend to the whims of the precious noses and cheeks of the fat, obsequious courtiers.
But you became a soldier, actually a sergeant.
Because I stood up to my mama. I stood up to my papa, and I said no.
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 My papa was unassailable in his adamant insistence upon my career. And rather than let me live my life, he challenged me to a duel. And I killed him.
Oh. You are not suggesting I battle my own father.
No, that would be redundant. But I am suggesting you live your life. That is all I ever fought for. The freedom for people to live their own life. Come and look in this mirror again. What do you see now?
I see a strong woman who will say no.
Yes. Now please, tip the attendant and I'll see you later.
And so you see, Madame, I will not be marrying your son. And I really don't like you.
And so, she sits at her table, dear reader, pen dipped in ink and poised for the next epistle. What shall happen? Shall Pierre find his way back to his true love, or shall the worms of sin dig too deep into the souls of the worthy? End of part 1. My dear reader, will Pierre follow his carnal instincts and live a life worth living, or will his better nature win out, and will he go back to his love? Part 2.
Madame Marie Cheval to Monsieur Jean-Paul Mouton. My dear Jean-Paul, it has been a long time since we last spoke in person, but I have much to tell you. You see, I recently met with your daughter, who came to me under the guise of wishing to become one of our many housewives, of which we purvey. I explained to her that you must be married to be a housewife, unfortunately, but I suspect she may be coming for another reason. We met and were discussing a recent beheading.
Oh, my road!
It was quite grand.
Oh my, and he blinked. Oh dear. What a pure joy. You know, my dear, I knew that we would be friends in spite of our differences.
Yes, now that I've found my sense of freedom.
Well, I do admire that. I do. You see, Jean-Paul, of course you know, I only wish to have my freedom as well. But I live within the constraints of the propriety of marriage. Well, you know...
Not too many constraints, my dear. Of course, perhaps this is too much information, but as of late, my beautiful, devoted,
Somehow he was reading my mind.
love, you have been quite adventurous in the bedroom.
Oh, my darling.
She has recently had me do much role play. You wished for me to act as a general named Claude. It has spiced up our marriage.
Please, Louis, please. This is far too much information to be shared.
Well, I'm just so excited by this.
You see, Jean-Paul, as we do have a past, you and I, you can understand that, yes, indeed, I did have a recent frolic with Sergeant Claude, but I am trying my hardest to stay within the constraints of my marriage. Yes, darling. It was fun, but we shall not talk of that anymore.
Yes, and if you will excuse me, I will take my leave. You wish for me to wear a black suit next time.
Yes. Darling, have you seen? Oh, there he is now. Pierre. He looked as if his blood had rushed from his face to his left knee. Yeah, darling, come.
I did not know this would be a setup. I trusted you.
Celeste, please let me say my piece.
I see you're wearing your shorts.
I must let you two speak in private. Jean-Paul, I did then stand very discreetly behind this chemise drawer. I pretended to leave, but I could hear them quite clearly.
Celeste, allow me to paint a picture for you.
You were never a very good artist.
I must say, Jean-Paul, that Pierre was a very good artist, although stick figures are only to be appreciated by some people.
I've drawn it out for you on paper. Look here, the definition of the sticks that I've drawn.
And there he unfolded a great roll of papyrus, of which he had made scroll after scroll. Figures.
That one is spun upside down. Celeste, let me tell you. Here I am, bedridden, knee wounded, under so many medications. I was in so much pain that my nurse, she shoved everything she could down my throat so that I could feel anything but pain. And in that state, I was not of right mind.
Continue.
My nurse, here, you see, she's the one with the triangle and the two circles.
Okay. Yes.
I did not know this at the time, but she was sister to my sergeant.
Your sergeant.
She took a liking to me, it seemed. She had a way of falling for many of the wounded men, the way that she looked at them so forlornly.
And you knew of this?
It was not my choice who nursed me back to health.
So she nursed you back to health. This is why you stand before me?
This is why I'm not dead. She plucked from me the fragments of the bullet that had shredded my kneecap.
And from his pocket, he pulled one of those fragments.
Here, I've turned it into a necklace that I was to present to her. It seems that you would rather not. Another time. But in my medicated state, and her longing love, I made a grave error.
I can see the error right here. In much detail, might I add.
And at that moment, she decided to describe it in great detail.
I mean, look at it just keeps going on and on. And that position, you've never done that. Me. And really?
We have not yet wed, so it would continue.
I appreciate that you are here before me because my heart admittedly does still yearn for you. And I do appreciate this woman for nursing you back to health and bringing you back to me so I could create the family that I've always wanted of my own.
But this part of the story.
I am ever
Really?
so sorry. It's just the medications. It turned my cane from this to this. That point. My Celeste, we have not yet been engaged. It was a terrible, terrible mistake, and I regret it to this day.
Do you see this mirror right here?
And there she pointed at the mirror that we recently purchased from a powder room.
When I look into this mirror, do you know what I see?
The most beautiful woman in the land.
Yes, I do. And this beautiful woman will be escorting herself out.
Ah, my dear, look who comes visiting at the door. The sergeant himself. Now,
I
please.
was just behind the chemise drawer.
My dear, there you are.
Yes, darling. Yes. Oh, what has happened to Celeste? Did she leave?
She appears to not be a fan of art.
Well,
Well,
I shall take this to my room. Sergeant.
it will work out, my son.
yes.
Take it from the general.
Yes! I'm only a sergeant, sir.
The sergeant, yes, of course. Please, have a seat here.
Ah, thank you very much.
I must say,
As we sat upon our chaise, he spread his legs.
This is how we sit in the foxhole, sir.
very good. Sir, I must say that my wife has been taking a liking to role play, and I have you to thank for that.
Oh, no.
You have inspired us to be adventurous. Something has changed in her ever since you came back. I feel a good fire between my marriage. I have you to thank for it, sir.
Well, you can always look to me to set your marriage ablaze.
You saved this nation, my good sir, and you saved my marriage. If you excuse me, please, I must use the lavatories.
Before you leave,
Yes.
Louis, how dare you speak of our private things with this stranger?
Stranger?
Yes, this
This
man.
I owe him my life, my dear.
Yes, but how dare you talk of something so private between us with this man?
I see you are excited and worked up. Use this energy for later, my dear.
At that moment, my stomach curdled as I thought, my husband thinks of me as an object that he owns.
My dear, is that your stomach I hear curdling?
He exposed the truth of me, and that is something that I found extremely attractive. Yes, my stomach It gurgles.
And have you been, in truth, role-playing our adventures with your husband?
You must know. We have.
Then you think of me.
Claude, look at this mirror.
Isn't that the one from the powder?
Yes, we recently purchased. How do you know it?
It's many, many long stories.
Claude, tell me what you see when you look in this mirror.
I see a man who has sinned several times, and a man who finds peace from his past whenever and wherever he can.
As he spoke to me, Jean-Paul, his hands began to quiver, and his legs began to shake as he began to, in great detail, tell me of some of his past doings. Claude, what is it? Your body is acting as if it is not your own.
It was when I was in the war. I was just a young cadet. I was sent on a mission to trespass into enemy. I could barely bring myself to say the word. Enemy lines. I was so young. I was so afraid. And I didn't go. I went AWOL instead. And then, when it came time for me to present the munitions I was supposed to steal and return to my sergeant, I told him that one of our regiment mates stole it from me. But that wasn't the case. And in order to keep that regiment mate from telling the truth, I had to murder him.
As he said this, his eyes pierced like daggers into my soul.
I am a murderer.
Oh,
I am a cad.
Monsieur Claude.
I am a fiend. I am every bad instinct the human soul might know. And yet, even I have need of comfort.
And you go about the world knowing these truths about yourself and wooing women and such as myself and pretending to be somebody that you're not.
I do. But I must tell you, my dear sweet woman,
our hands reached and barely touched until they did.
I must tell you that of all the hands I have held, never has one sent such a thrill through my body.
Yes, we were just speaking about warfare. And how
Well,
yes.
I see indiscretion runs in the family.
Jean-Paul, at that moment, I asked Claude to leave. Claude, please leave.
Madame, I love you.
And I cannot love you. As I said, as I walked towards that mirror and looked at myself and saw somebody who was living a lie. Jean-Paul, your daughter, my son, I do believe they love each other. And yet, I do admire the bravery and courage of your daughter. Please remember that I once knew a young woman with a very small basket, who came to me under the guise of wishing to be a housewife of which to be purveyed. With this basket, a small child inside, she asked for advice. I pointed her to Chateau Mayonnaise. Madame Cheval.
Monsieur, je me prends mon temps to his lovely daughter, Celeste. My dear Celeste, I have sent a copy of this letter to 17 different housewife purveyors in France, with the hopes that it will reach you, for I must have you know the fate that you have left your family in. Your sister's 17 children no longer drink sherry, I must have you know. They just drink water. There I was, my dearest, at the Chateau Cemetery. Visiting your mother. Oh, my dearest, shall we?
Papa, he'll be all right. I miss her dearly too. Even when I think about all of my children, I wish she was here to guide me through the throes of motherhood.
Yes, I wish she was here too. I feel like I have failed you, and I have failed your sister. But we no longer have the estate that we once had. The Chateau Mayonnaise is not only empty of furniture and all of the riches that I once procured, it is also empty of heart. I feel I've done this. And now your sister is missing.
I do not know where she went, but I know that she is heartbroken, and a woman with a broken heart cannot be tied down.
What do you mean?
Well, you see, she told me she was convinced that she must be free, not tethered to any man, not property, not your property or her husband's, future husband's. So off she went, like a feather in the wind.
You know, I once knew a woman like that. Cello.
Mama?
Yes, your mama. And though she wasn't a blood relative of your sister took to her. Yes, they are both birds to be free in the wind. They always were, you see. But your mother loved me. I was her wind. I was her clouds. I was everything to her. And I'm afraid that your sister feels the same way about this boy, Pierre. But she was betrayed. And, well, I cannot ask her to forgive him, but I just know that they belong together.
I told her that she shouldn't be with him.
You did?
Yes, Claire. Janine,
Could not help but overhear.
I thought about my child, my children, and how
basket you can put them. It's small, but it's good.
Don't you see?
Oh, I see. I see that you came into our life to destroy it. You and your nursery wiles.
It was a war.
Yes.
I saved people's lives.
She's a hero.
Oh, you save people's lives, huh? By mounting them?
If it saved one life, and this is what it created, then yes. But now, can you really see this child in a basket?
I must. And so, you see, I stormed off, tripped over several headstones.
I can't go on like this.
They continued talking while I was lying on the ground.
My brother cares nothing about me. He left me in a parlor, alone, with a dressmaker.
Your stomach has grown so much the dressmaker must be making you larger gowns.
She had to. I tried to hide this, but I kept getting larger and larger. And, Claire, I need to be with Pierre. I cannot be shunned in this way. That's what happened to my mother. That's why my brother and I have been torn apart in the way we have, and he cares nothing about this but bets.
If Pierre's a man of honor, then he will wed you and be your child's father and your husband.
Does he not remember how I saved him, how I nursed him in his delirium?
Then go to him. Remind him. My sister has fled. Now is the time. Strike while the iron is hot.
I think I can.
My friend, I know you can. Now, let's leave the cemetery. It is awfully eerie.
My dearest daughter, soon thereafter I passed out on the grass. When I came to, I sat for a while thinking. My back hurt, so I stayed there. And I thought, think of your mother. Think how she loved me. Think what her life was like. Do you think her life was a waste? Raising you, raising your sister? Please come back. Yours, Papa.
Celeste to Pierre. Pierre, I know it's been a while since we've seen each other. Your art still is burnt into my eyeballs. I have been housekeeping for many homes as I wanted to connect to my own true mother. You see, ever since I found out of your indiscretion and my sister's betrayal, I have felt more alone than ever. So I met with Janine. I will tell you about this as we met at the masquerade. Do you recognize me?
Yes. I recognized you from a distance. I could smell you from far away.
supposed to mean?
It means I know Pierre. I know how his odor, his pheromones. And you reek of it.
Funny, as you've been more intimate with him than I have, clearly.
You must think horrible things about me.
I admit I did. And in some ways I still do. But as I look at your beautiful, growing bump,
I have found out that they're triplets. I carry them down here. That's how I know.
as I look at your large family-to-be, I do admit that I find myself in them. And I do not wish for more orphans to be born.
It is a terrible life to be an orphan, isn't it?
I know.
We weren't orphans. Our mother was unwed, and it was a trying life for her. She dragged us from one place to another, pointing at orphanages when we were not behaving well, saying, "This could have been your fate." So I cannot do this to these triplets.
And I also cannot be a part of that. So I ask of you, do you love him?
I love him for the father that he is to be. And with that, I think we could make a life.
But do you love him?
Does it matter?
Does it matter? Does it matter that I loved him?
I fell in love with him, yes, on the battlefield. He was so wounded. He was bleeding. He had fragments everywhere. I pulled them out one at a time. I made a necklace of one.
Yes, I see the necklace.
I keep it close to my heart.
Oh, there's two necklaces now.
He cried in his delirium. He said your name.
He did?
He did.
And that was in cue for you to, pardon my French, back off?
No, it wasn't. Because he learned mine. We fell in love.
So he loved you.
Yes.
So you love her, Pierre.
I want to say his stick rose.
Oh, I've heard enough of this. Look. All I've ever wanted was to be loved and to have a family of my own. And I believe that I will one day. But you already have a family that is to be grown and born. And so, you can have him. And you see, Pierre, now that I know that you love another, and you have quite the large family to support, I send you off. With tears in my eyes, because although we will not be together, I still and will always love you, Celeste.
Pierre to Sergeant Claude. Sergeant Claude, I do hope you are sober when you read this letter. I must tell you, the other day I had misplaced my walking stick. I searched about our ample manor, where I did find it in my mother's boudoir, quite curiously under her bed, and sticky. I shuffled beneath the bed to fetch the stick, whereupon I heard the giggling of none other than my mother and yourself, emanating from the adjacent room. You two fell upon the bed. Quiet as a mouse, I concealed myself as you two spoke.
My darling, my soul has never drunk such cool ball.
Oh, Claude, you are like manna from heaven. Your touch is like silken cloth that falls upon my body.
My dear, if you tell me your name, I will use it.
My name is Marie.
Sergeant, it was at this point, well, truly, long before this point, that I wished to bolt. Much like a doe before a carriage, I was struck, and I could not. You reached your arm down, seemingly to fetch my stick for some lascivious purpose.
Excuse me,
Oh,
Marie.
Louis.
No, please, do not come near me. I have a dreadful cold.
Oh dear.
It was at that point my father met eyes with you in your skivvies.
Sergeant!
Sir!
Another great honor!
There is something you must know.
Please, do not come near me. I have a dreadful cold.
Oh,
It took him moments to dawn on why it was peculiar to see his wife and you derobed in her bed.
Sir! There is something you must know.
Please.
yes. It is have you heard of a duvet?
A duvet, yes, of course.
There is no more time for lies. Sir, I am in love with that woman there.
Well, of course you are. She is a wonderful, splendid woman.
No, listen to me and understand. I love her. I have been sleeping with her. But what started as a mere romp, one more conquest in an endless line of conquests, has suddenly turned, I swear to you, Marie, has suddenly turned into something that I am unaccustomed to and is quite injurious to my reputation as a rake. I love her.
Louis.
It was at that point I saw a rage bubble in my father's face that I had not seen since I had broken a window once when I was 7. He paddled me about the bottom until I was red and plump as an apple.
Louis.
Is this what's true?
Louis, how many times have you taken abroad, I mean afar, and then a woman abroad? How many times? Yes.
Well, I see that this is some sort of revenge that you're trying to get against me.
Is that all this is, my love? Is this simple revenge?
Of course it must be.
No, it is not revenge. It is me simply trying to live my life as I wish to live it.
It was at that point my father discovered the stick.
Don't touch that!
He brandished it, and it stuck immediately to his hand, almost to never be detached.
Good God, what is that sticky substance?
I swear it was not me.
Good sir, this stick will find its way to your skull.
Fine then, if that is the price I must pay for love, brain me here and kill me now!
I can't.
How many women have each of you taken?
50. If this be the moment of truth, then let it be told. Yes, many women in all the countries and nations that I have visited, I have conquered many. But
Dare you?
how dare I?
Yes!
Sergeant Claude, I must say that the bullet in my leg was no match to the trauma I was facing at this moment.
It is only honey on the handle of which I was going to make you honey tea when I cared.
This now in the midst of the turmoil with our own son and Celeste.
Indeed. And you see,
I can see the apple does not fall far from the tree. But which tree would it be?
your tree started falling apples before mine did.
And mine only fell this one time. And it fell very hard and fast.
Tell me, my love, and put an end to this burning, burning doubt. Do you love me?
Claude, I love you more than I've ever loved anyone. I'm so sorry, Louis.
As am I, because truth be told, I am jealous.
Sir, perhaps you and I have learned a lesson today. Perhaps the very life I always sought to live is no life at all. What right have we to traipse around the world and treat women like so much property, like one more notch on a belt? 50, my God.
Sergeant Claude, your words struck me.
Yes.
Is it not more appropriate, sir, that we and all men in all places should learn to revere women for the godlike creatures they are? No, not godlike, but human. And
Let it start.
so
The fact, brother, that I am having and carrying quintuplets. And if you are to revere life, the father of these babies to be is your Pierre, who I
Yes.
nursed to health.
Sister, listen. I have realized that I have been living a fool's life. I know not whether Pierre will love you or raise those children, but this woman here has vouchsafed to love me. Come, if no other harbor will give you safe home, come and live with us, and we shall raise your children in a loving and adoring family, if that's all right with you, my dear.
I am standing right here.
Then do the right thing.
Yes!
Do it quickly,
The
my
round
water
table
is
is-
broken. I wish to have all of your many children to live with Claude and I.
This be your true wish?
Louis, I have not loved you the way that you deserve.
And nor have I you the way you deserve. Very well. Then let us do this amicably.
Claude, it was at this point I could no longer take it. Bearing witness to my parents' marriage and its dissolution, I found myself, through a dumbwaiter, down to our mansion. But those words you spoke as I stared up at you straight into your exposed buttocks stay with me, and I realized that I too had to make things right. Yours, Pierre.
You saw the whole thing? From Claude to Marie. My dearest love, I write this letter to you from my sitting room while you are only 6 feet away, behind that wall in your boudoir. I needed some time to recover from the last 7 hours. Ah, sweet love, how you have changed my life and reformed my soul. I have had a letter from Pierre. He tells me that he has found a resolution to his situation as well. It seems that he was outside in a ballroom, the open air ballroom. And there he was dancing alone. When suddenly my sister entered. According to his letter, the conversation unfolded thusly.
Janine, I'm sorry I missed the birth of our... How many was it that you said?
5, and then another one arrived.
So mathematics would make that 6.
Yes.
As they exchanged their poignant dialogue, they instinctively danced.
I see you've grabbed a basket.
There's a child in it.
Is that
Yes.
one of ours?
It is one of ours. I don't know which one. I've only named them 1 through 6. Shall I just speak to you to see if you would like to name them? Perhaps Bouton.
And it was then Pierre spoke his unalterable truth.
Janine, I'm a fool.
Yes.
I thought I needed to marry a woman of my station, that woman being Celeste. I thought down of you, a mere nurse. And that was wrong. I professed my love to you, and that was the truth of my heart.
You were in a delirium. Do you really mean that you truly love me, or was it the fever?
It was the fever of love. You're a nurse, so you tell me the diagnosis. I myself am merely not a man of scientific remedies, but a psychic. I foresaw this, not the 6th child.
Have I mentioned that he is a psychic, my dear? And their conversation came to a close with this final line from Pierre.
Janine, I wish to wed you.
Do you mean that?
Yes.
What is love?
In my final line, the deepest love that there is.
They embraced. Celeste entered at that point.
Celeste, I've done as we've agreed.
May I? She's beautiful.
She's tiny in that basket, but I think she'll grow into something special. A powerful, a pure woman who stands her ground.
That she shall.
Celeste and Pierre bid their farewells.
If you still wish, I have the necklace.
I should like to give you my answer. I would love to marry you. I should also like to tell you that I'm pregnant again.
And they danced a fertility dance. Which was an oldie but a goodie. And off the two of them danced into their future. At this moment still, Marie, my dearest love, I know not if he married for true love or out of a sense of obligation. For so trained are we to wear the manacles of society that we often mistake them for diamond bracelets. But know, my love, I wear no jewelry. I only wear my heart upon my sleeve for you. And so, dear reader, you must know that Marie and I, your editor, wed. And now we live a life of joy and love, unbound by stricture, and yet bound by the only stricture that truly counts. As you close this volume, dear reader, I charge you to analyze your love, your motivations, and the bonds that appear to you to be bracelets. The end. We have 5 more performances. We're back tomorrow night, Sunday matinee, and then we do it all again next weekend, Thursday to Sunday. If you had fun, come back. It's always a brand new show, always improvised, always based on your suggestions. And we'll even do this dance again. 6 more. Holy moly. Thank you very much. So come back. Go is our greatest form of advertising, and we would appreciate that very much. We are a 501c3 charitable organization, a nonprofit theater company. We rely very heavily upon the donations and generosity of our patrons to help do what we do. And if you have a couple of extra bucks and you don't mind donating it to us, there's a plastic box on your way out. Please throw some money in there. We'd appreciate it. If you have more money and you want to write us a big check, there's an envelope over there. Take one, send it to us in the mail. Really, honestly, anything you can spare. There is no amount of money too big that we won't take it. Coming up in July, our next show is Spontaneous Soap, a full-length improvised play in the style of a 1950s television soap opera. And we'll be doing 8 performances of that, and it'll actually continue episode to episode. So come on back in July and see us again. Thank you so much for being here. If you have a friend in the cast and you want to say hello, give us about 15 minutes to get out of costume. We'll meet you at the stage door. You are awesome. We appreciate you very much. Good night.